Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and wow, we got a show today. A show that I'm looking forward to because I want to learn all that I can learn about probiotics. And I know that the world is out and they utilize that terminology many, many times. And I really don't think most of the people that uh, utilize that and use the product really understand the benefits that this great product brings. So we got a very, very special guest here today that's going to tell us and talk to us and educate us about this great product called probiotics and also how important it is for the gut and also your mental health. I mean, all of these things plays a role that plays a role together. So I'm excited about this. And Michelle, I cannot start the show without my outstanding executive producer and co-host, Dr. Michelle Cooley. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Actually, the show today, we're going to talk about psychobiotics mainly. And this is something we've never heard of. I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard of, but you're right. We have an amazing guest on the show who's going to talk about that, the link between the gut and mental health regarding psychobiotics.
Yeah, it's psychobiotic, but I think that she's gonna tell us about probiotics as well. So I am excited. So wherever you watching this show from, was you watching on E360 television, Transverse TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever live mechanism you are watching this on, if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is go to the comments. You can ask this great guest that Michelle is getting ready to introduce to you to any question that you might have, or just jump in and become part of the conversation. Michelle, can you please introduce the title, the purpose, and introduce this absolutely outstanding guest that we have today?
Yes, psychobiotics, the link between the gut and mental health. We're going to have a conversation with developmental scientist, health activist, author Natasha Trenev, and we're going to learn what is psychobiotics and the clinical applications regarding that. We're going to talk about gut-brain axis, microbiota, and mental health, and talk about lifestyle factors and gut health. So let's talk a little bit about our guest today, often referred to as the mother of probiotics. Developmental scientist Natasha Trenev is the author of Probiotics, How Live Yogurt and Other Beneficial Bacteria Can Restore Health and Vitality, Probiotics, Nature's Internal Healers, and the Power of Probiotics, Secrets to Great Health. As a health activist, she has lectured around the world about the power of probiotics. She's a member of the American Society of Microbiology, American Association for the Advancement of Science, Institute of Food Technologists, and Aerobic Society of the Americas, and American Dairy Science Association, and the formulator of the Natron line of probiotic dietary supplements. She's got a lot to tell us today, not only about psychobiotics, but probiotics as well. Please welcome to the show, Natasha Trenev.
Thank you both. I have to live up to my protocol here. At any rate, this has been my life and my passion. For 54 years, I've worked in the health field. I've worked with doctors, alternative healthcare practitioners, retailers, and I've taught them about probiotics. And probiotics literally means for life, whereas antibiotics mean against life. And these organisms are something we have lost culturally because of the processing of our food, the abuse of antibiotics, not the appropriate use of antibiotics, and the host of other chemicals in our environment, in our food, that have destroyed this incredible support that we all need for mental, physical, and beauty health. People don't understand that your skin and your beauty outside is a reflection of what's inside your body. So, a couple of interesting facts. The reason I got so enthralled in this field is that we know now that all gut disease, all diseases begin in the gut, and many doctors used to argue with me that there's sterile parts in the body, and I would say no. I understand microorganisms, and we don't have any sterile portions of our body. Number two, is that your body has the ability to heal itself if you give it enough tools and you do the proper diet, mental health, and extremes of anxiety and depression are eliminated, and your view of the world is positive, and your diet and your lifestyle affects everything, and you get the appropriate combination of these friendly bacteria in your gut, you're going to be healthy. I think we have a tendency, especially in America, to look at drugs or even dietary supplements to cure a disease. My concept is completely different. I say that you give the body the tools and it can heal itself. And the reason I say that is because we are more microbes or more bacterial cells than we are human cells. It's like 100 billion, 100 trillion bacteria cells found in our GI tract, which is 27 feet long. And we have about 50 trillion human cells. And the body rebuilds itself every year. Most people don't know that. Every minute, you lose 10 million cells that your body has. So every minute, your body must produce 10 million healthy cells to replace those that we have. So in doing so, if your body is producing cheap proteins, that's going to lead to disease. That's a simplified explanation of a very complex issue. So every year you have a chance to remake your body, remake your health, whether it's mental health or whether it's physical health or whether it's exterior beauty health. So having said that, then I can drill down, but I wanted to say to people, I'm against treating symptoms or just treating one area of the body. I am firmly convinced that if you give the right probiotic bacteria to take care of your small intestine, your large intestine, your transient flora, then it will take care of the psychobiotic issue, which I will explain further. But I just wanted to make sure there's no questions about this first introduction.
Wow. So Natasha, were you always into, I'm talking about even as a kid growing up, that always knew that one day that you would be doing some type of scientific stuff? Or tell our viewers and audience about that.
No, actually, I had a different life plan. My family on my father's side, who's Macedonian, he's gone now, but we're in the fermented dairy food products from Macedonia for 750 years. So our prized yogurt and cheeses were sold all around Europe and even bought by royal courts in various countries. So with that knowledge, when my father came here as an immigrant and I as an immigrant child, we brought the concept of eating natural Bulgarian style yogurt and a liquid acidophilus to the Americas. For many years, people didn't even know what we were talking about. This was in the mid 1960s while I was still a student at school and going into UCLA. So it was a big job. And then why I became interested to delve into the science and really absorb any and everything I could find is because I saw people coming to our offices and saying, my God, can we buy the case for our whole community? We've seen such incredible turnaround in people's health that we want to buy these products by the case lot. And I would say, sure. And then I thought about it. Well, if I could take these beneficial bacteria, grow them and stabilize them, and deliver them in a fashion where everybody can enjoy these health benefits, we could literally eliminate the use of a lot of drugs and a lot of suffering by millions of people. And that's what led me to the quest. Just very quickly, I became the exclusive licensee of the University of Nebraska that did some pioneering work in the study of beneficial bacteria and using special strains that are grown under special conditions that produce these incredible beneficial byproducts that not only communicated with our immune system, about 80% of your immune cells are found in the GI tract, but also helped every aspect of the body's function and health. And so that led me to introduce the first probiotic product of its category in the world. And that was in 1981, 1982. And the rest is history.
Wow. So first of all, could you tell our viewers and listeners what is a developmental scientist?
A developmental scientist is someone that actually knows the science and how to research, formulate, and make products for the end user. A lot of people think that doctors are formulators. They're not. Nobody teaches them formulation in medical school, but I'm actually someone who knows the process not from only an academic purview, but I actually know how to formulate, how to stabilize, and how to deliver a product that actually works.
Yeah. So what is exactly, so we'll get a clear mind, what is probiotics and what is the benefits of that?
Okay, a probiotics is the term that I brought, and it means the special beneficial bacteria that interact with the host to promote health, whether it's immune health, and immune health has been compromised. They actually communicate with the immune cells on the intestinal wall by photon light emission. They make sure that the right size particle of nourishment passes the intestinal wall to mitigate allergies and food sensitivities, and so that the body does not overreact when it's getting nutrients. It also makes sure that the body efficiently utilizes these nutrients and eliminates the waste and toxins on a timely basis, so the body's not reabsorbing toxins and waste and putting more burden on the liver. And also, they produce these beneficial neurotransmitters in the gut that is used by our first brain to create a better mood, to help with anxiety, depression, and all the states we suffer when these wonderful neurotransmitters such as dopamine and serotonin are not made in sufficient numbers in our GI tract.
Wow. That's I want to delve real deep. We're going to take a station break right now, but when we get back, I want to talk a little bit more in detail about all the things that you talked about, including the title of the show, why you came up with the title of the show. So when we get back from the station break, if you all have any question for this absolutely fantastic guest, just go to the comments, ask her any question. I promise you, I'll get it on the screen. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Hello, welcome back to the 𝐵𝐔𝐾𝐒 Show. It's your life. And, we got this absolutely fantastic guest, Natasha, who is educating us and letting us know exactly what probiotics is, the benefits of it, and how that has a correlation between the gut and your mental health. And I tell you, we're going to delve deep into this now and really get an understanding. So if you want to be part of this, all you have to do is go to the comments and ask this question. Ask any question that you might have. And we'll get you on the screen. Natasha, so the title of the show is Psychobiotics, the link between the gut and the mental health. What is exactly psychobiotics?
Well, it's just a term you use to get people's attention, to let them know that probiotics can literally affect the state of your mental health, which is a big issue in this day and age. And so that's how we get people's attention, by calling them psychobiotics, because as I said before, probiotic organisms produce up to 90% of the serotonin, which is the feel-good chemical that gives you a good mood, good feeling, and about 50% of the dopamine inside your gut. And it's a precursor to producing GABA and tryptophan. All of these agents, or I would call them neurotransmitters, are so important to our mental health. So I love what I heard in the break when you said love yourself. Well, if you don't love yourself, the bacteria don't find you a good host for themselves as well, because there is negative energy in those bad thoughts. And the bacteria need to produce these good chemicals to reinforce those good thoughts and give us the nutrients and the neurotransmitters that we need to maintain that happy and fulfilled state of life.
So you mentioned psychobiotics, and most people don't know what that is. I know you explained it, but they do know what probiotics is. At least they have an understanding.
Well, probiotics just means for life, whereas antibiotic means against life. And psychobiotics mean beneficial organisms to help your psychology. That's what psychobiotics means. It means it gives you psychological support. It gives you the neurotransmitters to make sure that your thoughts are healthy and happy. Now, interestingly, we don't want to separate any part of the body, because your negative thoughts can actually produce chemicals in the GI tract that make it a bad neighborhood for the beneficial bacteria to hang out, and they leave via the feces. So now it becomes a double-fold problem. It's a loop. In other words, the bacteria are not making the neurotransmitters that produce that good moods, good feeling, and your thoughts are intensifying that because it's making a inhospitable terrain for them to stay. So in order to break that loop, if you can't do it mentally, you then have to take the right probiotic organisms so they can start being replenished as you work through your mental issues, so that you can get those neurotransmitters to now be in harmony, where not only are your thoughts positive, but you're getting the chemicals from your gut that need to keep those thoughts positive.
Wow. So are there different types of psychobiotics?
There are different psychobiotics, but one of the hallmarks of my research is that you use the bacteria that perform all these functions. I know there's a marketing position that very much mimics what Big Pharma is doing, give you a organism that's going to specifically target that production of neurotransmitter. But in doing so, it may inhibit other beneficial bacteria that are absolutely necessary for other functions in the body to keep you healthy. So what I do is I use the probiotic organisms that not only will help produce those neurotransmitters, but will work in a beneficial harmony with the other beneficial bacteria, either in your small intestine or large intestine, so there's no disruption of that unity and optimal state of health that needs to be created in your gut.
As it relates to what we're talking about for as mental and gut, are there any recommendations for as the types of food or
Oh,
any of those things
absolutely.
that people?
Yeah, I hate to date myself, but there was a famous case called the Hostess Twinkie defense. You got to look it up. It was I believe, a state congressman that shot, Harvey Milk in the 1970s, and his defense was that he was on sugar highs and sugar lows. There's something called the glycemic index, and because of those high sugars and high lows, it made him mentally unstable. And they were able to prove that yes, people who consume simple carbohydrates and sugars can create such a state in the body. When the body and the microbes are denied this sugar, you can become mentally unstable and become violent. As a matter of fact, there was a study that I only observed, I was not a part of, in juvenile hall in Los Angeles, sponsored by then a local supervisor, that changed the diet in juvenile hall. And they had withdrawal type symptoms from those young juveniles, just like if they were withdrawing from drugs. And after 2 weeks, the level of violence, especially close to dinner time, was reduced by 70%. So drinking pops and eating, processed foods and candy bars all day long will have an effect on your mental health, because it's not only destroying your body, but it's targeting unfriendly bacteria and microbes to grow in your gut that will be not producing such friendly psychobiotics.
So you got me with the Twinkie thing, but people, and I guess we all are probably guilty of this sometimes. Putting a lot of bad food in our gut. But what are some of the things that causes our gut to? I'm just totally disagree with the things that we put in. Plus, also our mind, and all this together kind of create a big gut, because we're not mentally focused on the right foods. Secondly, we just get, I guess, obsessed with certain type of things and not understand the value or the devalue of them. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, food is addictive. It's not just my opinion, it's been well proven. It's just not often talked about because the big corporations have a vested interest for you to keep eating that food that can have up to 209 chemicals in it. And yeah, the further away it is from nature, the more toxic it can become. So yeah, the sugar fix is a big problem. Sugar is as addictive as any drug. And children that are given sweets in the morning, sweets at lunch, and sweets in the afternoon, and sweets for dinner, processed food, develop a dependency on those chemicals and those simple carbohydrates. So they actually start craving them and become, I don't know if you've had any experience in your practice, but I remember the children that used to go to parties, because I wouldn't allow any of that food to my daughter, but had no control when she went to a party. And I knew that we would have a chill zone for 2 or 3 hours after she came home, because she was so hyper, she couldn't sit in one place. And I think as parents, in the more we understand the unity of our body, our mind, and what really our body needs, because it's a beautiful, most excellent biological machine that needs our care and respect in order to serve us and make us happy and healthy.
Wow. So you talk about this thing called gut-brain axis.
Yes.
Exactly what is that?
Well, there's something called the enteric nervous system, which is totally separate from the regular system, but communicates with it. And that's the one that handles the neurotransmitters being sent up to the first brain via the vagus nerve, which is connected to our abdomen and goes straight to our upper brain. And that gut-brain axis is very important because that enteric nervous system dictates the production of these neurotransmitters, then they get transferred to our brain. And that's what's called the gut-brain axis. And that's functioning 24/7 and sending those chemicals to your brain to make you happy and healthy, or denying those chemicals to your brain that make you happy and healthy.
So most of us know about our digestive system and tract is populated with bacteria and all other type of stuff and microorganisms. Tell us about some of these organisms and how these organisms affect our general well-being, our general health.
Okay, well, I'll keep it simple because I do medical continuing education, so I don't want everybody to understand. So I'm going to try to keep the terminology simple. But basically, when you're born and go through a natural birth cycle, if the mother is healthy, she passes on a very important bacteria called Bifidobacteria infantis. And that bacteria literally downregulates or upregulates the immune system. What does that mean? And it teaches the immune system to react when there's an invader or danger, or it teaches the immune system to tolerate food going through the intestinal wall to prevent allergies and food sensitivities. And unfortunately, only 7% of the mothers in North America still have this bacteria available to their newborn as it's passing the birth canal, and it's also being breastfed. So we have a huge problem. And it usually, the mothers who don't have this organism have a 2-generational leap backwards, where they have family members, both on the father's and the mother's side, who have gut issues. And, yes, as annoying bloating and gases and, indigestion and diarrhea and constipation is, it has an effect on the overall health if it becomes chronic from generation to generation. And it's not something we should ignore and just pop pills to get rid of. It means that there's a systemic wide problem that we should pay attention to and see how we can return it back to its optimal health. So that bacteria is very important at birth.
So it said generations and generations, could be both sides.
Both sides, yeah.
How
Not just the mother.
How do we get this under control?
Well, you have to make sure, first of all, to stop eating junk food, okay? And stop popping pills and stop, overeating, over drinking, because it does have consequences. As I said, your body is not a garbage disposal. It's a body of the most excellent build and structure designed to make it stay for 100 years. And we don't have too many healthy 100-year-olds that don't look like dried up prunes and are still running around. So, so we have to know which organism belongs in which part of the intestinal tract to make this happen. So the next organism I introduce is called the Lactobacillus acidophilus. And that organism loves to live in the small intestine. Remember, microorganisms are extremely intelligent, and they don't do anything that's not in their best interest. So if you try to put them in the wrong environment, they won't function and they won't produce, because they're not trying to impress you. They're interested in promoting the life of their kind. Okay? So this Lactobacillus acidophilus loves to live on the walls of your small intestine, which is about 20 feet long. And if you spread out the small intestine, it would cover a tennis court. So there's a lot of nooks and crannies where that organism can function. And your immune cells are there. So it not only helps to break down the food, to make sure you're getting the supply of your B vitamins and other nutrients, to keep the intestinal wall healthy, because every 3 days, the cells on your intestine are renewed. So it performs multiple functions, and it's very important to make sure you have adequate amounts of this organism because it's been in the literature for 100 years and has about 10,000 research and clinical trials studies done on this organism alone. And the reason I chose it, because I know it's not only effective, but I know it's safe. I don't fool around with organisms that I think that at any point can become detrimental to other beneficial organisms or to the human host. So that's for the small intestine.
Let's hold it though, because we're gonna take a station break, but
Okay.
we'll come back and pick it up from the small intestine. So you had mentioned something about vitamin B and all. I want to really get off into all of these things and educate our listeners and viewers on the benefits and some of the vitamins and some of the natural things that they might be able to take to help control the gut, brain, mental health. So we're going to take a station break. If you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is just go to the comments, ask any question you like. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
I never wanna leave. Yeah, I'm right where I wanna be. We got something you and me, and I can't get rid of this feeling. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Just like a magnet, we're just like the magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Hey, I'm so drawn to you. I'm so drawn to you. Yeah, yeah.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, and just sitting over here, just fascinated with all of this information that Natasha is putting out, because a lot of it we just take for granted. We don't know, and we put all type of stuff in our systems just because it look good. Our mind tell us that it's good, and a lot of times we are really tearing our bodies down, or we hurt our gut. And we're doing a lot of different things to our body. And, so I hope everybody's paying attention because this is very informative, just like Renee just said. Extremely informative. And if you want to be part of this conversation, just go to the comments and we'll get you on. Natasha, I want to pick it back up. You were talking about the small intestines the microorganisms, the bacteria, and all this great stuff that's there that could be hurting us, and some of the things that we can do to help recover that, maybe with natural vitamins or stuff. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. The only effective way, and unfortunately, I didn't make this happen. I should say, fortunately, I didn't make this happen, but we've lost the beneficial bacteria over generations of eating the improper diet, our thought processes, and what we've done to our body. So you need to now reintroduce the Lactobacillus acidophilus on a daily basis in a recovery system that can survive stomach acid and have the ability to actually implant in your small intestine and start that new garden in the small intestine that's absolutely beneficial to you. Because unfortunately, you can't get it in food, not in the adequate numbers that you need. And it's no longer available in any other form, but in special forms that survive stomach acid and has its own food, so it can implant on the intestinal wall. And what it does is it actually produces B vitamins for itself, but it will also share that with the body because it likes the host. It also produces a slightly acidic environment in the small intestine that makes mineral absorption critical and very much functional. So without a slight acidic environment in the small intestine, you can't absorb your minerals, which are extremely important to your health. And I'm talking mainly about calcium and magnesium. So those are one of the most important minerals that we seem to have a shortage of, and not with proper absorption. So those are some of the main functions the acidophilus performs in the small intestine.
Let's talk about certain lifestyles and how that affect the gut. Can you talk about certain things that people
Sure. I mean, this is not a condemnation, but alcohol is a sterilizing agent. It sterilizes the gut. Number one, your body, especially women, you don't have the proper enzymes to break down alcohol, so it goes to the liver, and the liver has to deal with something that's extremely difficult to handle and make sure that the toxins don't go back in the body, aside from destroying your brain cells. And it not only upsets the beneficial harmony, I would call it, of the microbes in your gut. It produces toxins, and that's why you have a hangover, because it means your liver is not able to deal with the toxins delivered there by the alcohol. And I just tell people it's always your choice. I'm not here to judge you, I'm just here to tell you. It's not just my opinion, but if you check like with the state of the California and you've had any DUIs, you're forced to go to these schools. And in those schools, they tell you that alcohol is a class A carcinogen. It's the cause of cancer. So I think everybody has to, evaluate their lifestyle, and especially women. Men can somehow tolerate more alcohol, but women have a problem. Even with one drink, they'll probably exceed the limit that most states allow for the blood level to show that you are not intoxicated. So those are some of the first observations I can make. And of course, taking recreational or even pharmaceutical drugs can get you addicted. And I'm dealing with addiction clinics right now and telling them that they're not going to have success unless they fix their gut, because the microbes become addicted as well as the person. And you need to have a holistic treatment for these people in these recovery clinics.
We let's talk about the clinical applications of psychobiotics for mental health disorder. I know this is part of the title today. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the psychobiotics definitely can help with your mood. If you're anxious, moody, if you're feeling down, you don't have the joy of life, you don't have energy, these probiotics that we call the psychobiotics can definitely deliver those neurotransmitters that will elevate your mood and help you get out of that bad state of mind. That's number one. They can also help you with the hangover because they take the burden off the liver, which causes you to feel lousy and almost with flu-like symptoms the next day. So that's how they can affect, in a short form, your mental health. And like I said, if you're eating a lot of sugar, it can even cause violent behavior, and the psychobiotics will quiet down those organisms that can produce those chemicals to cause that bad or violent behavior. So that's just the short list. So the application of the probiotics as psychobiotics can have a tremendous benefit on your mental health, your state of mind, and your behavior.
Natasha, you're an author. Wrote so many books, and I'm just was reading some of the titles of them. Let's talk about something. The one that the power of probiotics. You talked about a little bit about that one. What about how live yogurt and other beneficial bacteria can restore your health and vitality?
Yeah, well,
Let's talk
good question. Since we introduced natural Bulgarian style yogurt to the United States in the mid 1960s, my family did. Those are called now functional foods. And there are standards for making these yogurts. A lot of stuff sold in the market. Unfortunately, the states are not involved in making sure that what we call yogurt bacteria are used in fermenting milk to make a product we call yogurt. And so that's the problem, that, these beautiful foods, and we also introduced kefir to North America, and people don't understand the difference between these foods. And a lot of people don't have a cultural background in making fermented vegetables or fermented anything, really don't know how to ferment these foods and make them beneficial. So because of the crisis that we have created environmentally, like I said, we have 209 possible chemicals that can be in the processed food, aside from the pesticides, the stuff that's in our water, the stuff that's in our air. We have destroyed the ability of those functional foods like yogurt and kefir to restore the order in the gut that it was able to do 40 and 50 years ago. We've changed the field. It's not, and the effectiveness of the products are not controlled by any state mandate or any state standard. And nobody's really looking to see if you put a label of yogurt on the container, that it really qualifies as a yogurt by any standard. And that's a problem, because these products should be controlled by the state dairy board or dairy association, but they're not, because I don't see anybody checking the yogurt off the shelf, and people are buying it because it has a sexy label, it has some kind of fruit sugar that we think is sweet, and it's really an excuse to have sugary desserts because you think you're getting something healthy. And so that's why I had to develop these supplements, because I saw it in the 1980s. The number of young women who were having problems with their glycemic index, they're having low blood sugar, not able to function or think, and getting very weepy and dysfunctional during the middle of the day. I said, wow, looks like, we're hitting the road with where what I call the beneficial functional foods are no longer enough.
So we've been talking about strands, bacteria that has, what negative affected the body. Are there any that favorably affect the body and the mood?
Yeah, well, this Lactobacillus acidophilus and the Lactobacillus bulgaricus, which I concentrate, and it's the concentrated yogurt bacteria that was studied by the turn of the century by a famous fellow from the Sorbonne Institute. And he found that this bacteria was vital to longevity, good health, and to good mental states. So both the Lactobacillus acidophilus and the Lactobacillus bulgaricus definitely have an effect on creating a good mood and competing with the organisms that would cause the production of not so beneficial chemicals.
Well, Steve Taylor is asking you a question. So what would you say is Kefir? Is that a good?
The kefir would depend. In other words, a kefir is a product that has to be fermented by a specific group of bacteria. So we have to check the manufacturer that he's using the proper bacteria and that he's applying to any standard. In other words, I helped to set the standard for the making of kefir in the state of New York, which was later adopted by the state of Illinois and other states. And as a concept, kefir is a very good product, but it depends on who's making it and what standard they're adhering to.
Yeah, so Steve, I hope that's answered your question. We're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back and we're going to pick it up. We're going to continue this great conversation. If you want to be part of the conversation, just like what Steve just did, just go to the comments. Ask this great guest any question you like, and I promise you, as you see how sharp she is, she's going to get you an answer real quick. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. 𝐓𝐿𝐒. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phrases and stages. These experiences teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to It's Your Life with James 𝐘𝐒. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the 𝐇𝐎𝐿𝐒 Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get you equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James 𝐘𝐿𝐒.
Hello, welcome back to the James 𝐘𝐿𝐒 Show. It's Your Life, and I tell you, Natasha is really putting it down, educating us, and I have learned so much. I have learned so much from this discussion that we're having today, and I'm sure that you all are learning as well. And Natasha, you had mentioned something about supplements and stuff that I think you said that you developed. Can you talk about some of those?
And develop what? I'm sorry.
Supplements or vitamins?
Yes, I developed probiotic supplements that separate each bacteria and grow it in the optimal way that it likes to grow, stabilize it, and deliver alive so it can actually have a benefit. And I just want to take a minute. I missed talking about the large intestine. The large intestine, I was the first one in this country to introduce a group called Bifidobacteria. And that's so important, especially with the rise of colon cancer. that this bacteria is what I call essentially the chief of the waste and disposal system in your body. And it makes sure that your body's not reabsorbing toxins, but it's eliminating the toxins through your feces. Now, 40% of your dry weight fecal matter is bacteria. So you are expelling bacteria and toxins every day. So what you want to make sure is that you're expelling that which you don't need and not that which you need. And bifidobacteria are the guardians there. Now, one thing we found is that people who have long haul COVID or predisposed to cancer have lost virtually the majority of their bifidobacteria in their large intestine. And very few people are talking about this. And this is so important because that bacteria has a vested interest in keeping us healthy because it loves to live inside of our body. So that we need to restore that bacteria effectively. And we need to give the baby bacteria, which is called Bifidobacteria infantis, to the infants and to the sensitive people. And so I have a program. I have a super pill that has the 3 most essential bacteria for your digestive tract. And they will arrive alive because they survive stomach acid and they survive bile. And so people have been taking it for 40 years. And the reason I'm still working, should have been retired a long time ago, but my education is so important. It's not just about the business. These products are my life's work. I take pride in them, and I've helped millions of people. And I want to make sure that people understand when they're putting their hard-earned money, what they're buying, and that we set a standard. And I welcome competition because I want more people to benefit. And I want us to get away from popping pills for every symptom we have in the body. Because it's a beautiful body inside and out, and we need to love, nurture, and take care of it.
So where could we get some of these products that you create?
You can go to my website, which is Natren, NATREN.com. And we still have lovely people who want to talk to you that have been with me for 15, 20 years, and they don't want to leave because they've developed a friendship and a communication with the people who call us. And there's been millions of people who have called us. And so we still provide that service, and I'm happy to provide that service. And you can reach those ladies, and it's called Consumer Direct at 866 and the number 4 and the word NATREN, which is Natren. You call, you talk to those people. There's no telemarketing people there. We're not trying to sell anybody anything. We're trying to help you supplement the beneficial bacteria, which I believe now are the most important aspect of either regaining your health or maintaining your health. And I don't say that lightly because we know now that bacteria are found in your brain cells, they're found in your reproductive organs, they're found in your mitochondria, they're found everywhere in your body. And so if they're an integral part of us and we're destroying the balance, I think that's going to have a huge impact on our health and our nation's health.
So we're down to the last couple of minutes of the show. If someone wanted to get in touch with you because they're intrigued, like I am, about this discussion that we are having, how could they reach out to you and get
to me personally? Yeah, yes. I do have an Instagram account, Natasha Trenev. You can look me up there, ask me questions. I'll be happy to answer them. And you can even go to our company, Natren Inc., and we have a section called Ask Natasha. And I'm always happy to answer your questions honestly and to the best of my ability.
What are a couple of takeaways you want our viewers and our listeners to get from this absolutely wonderful discussion?
Okay, well, the first takeaway is that our health is under attack. We're spending $4.3 trillion on healthcare, and 80% of it is chronic care. We have an explosion of colon cancer and other cancers that we need to look at seriously. I'm not about preventing disease. I'm about promoting health. And that's the takeaway, that your body is the one. You have to love it and love yourself, because not loving your body is not loving yourself. And you have to make the decision how are you going to treat your body? Because you really need it to be happy and healthy.
Natasha, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and educate our viewers and our listeners. So thank you. Got to get you back again one of these days real soon.
It's my pleasure. And I want to congratulate you because my husband and I have been married for 52 years. And I think relationships are very, very important. And I congratulate you and your lovely wife on the work that you do.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So thank you so much for taking the time to come. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely magnificent show. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners around the world for tuning in to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. It's your life. I'm James Cooley. See you tomorrow.